Welcome. This lesson is from Physiology and Biochemistry paper. The lesson is for 5th semester students. The topic is endocrine glands. In the previous lesson, we have studied about endocrine glands, human endocrine system, structure and function of pituitary gland, and the disorders related to its over-secretion and under-secretion. Thyroid gland, its structure and function, and disorders related to its under-secretion and over-secretion. And now, let us learn about the parathyroid gland, its structure and function, and the disorders related to its over-secretion and under-secretion. Adrenal gland, structure and function, and its disorders due to over-secretion and under-secretion. The third gland is pancreas, structure of pancreas, its function, and the disorders caused due to the over-secretion and under-secretion of pancreatic hormones. Now let us study about the parathyroid glands. Parathyroid glands are two pairs in man. These glands are present in the tissues. They are embedded in the tissues of the thyroid gland. One pair is present in each lobe of the thyroid gland. So the superior one are called as the parathyroid glands, which are present at the anterior, are called as superior parathyroid glands, and the ones which are present towards the posterior, and they are called as inferior parathyroid glands. These parathyroid glands are of pea size. Parathyroid glands secrete a single peptide hormone that is called as parathormone. Parathormone is abbreviated as PTH. This hormone works in association with the calcitonin hormone of the thyroid gland. Parathormone regulates the calcium ion levels in the blood. Whenever the level of the calcium ions in the blood it falls below the normal level, then parathyroid glands they secrete the parathormone and help in raising the calcium ion levels. On the other hand, calcitonin works in opposite to that of the parathormone. So whenever the calcium ions are in higher concentration in the blood, then calcitonin hormone is released from the thyroid gland. So whenever in the blood vessels the calcium ions are in low concentration, in low levels, then the parathyroid gland it produces parathormone, and this parathormone stimulates the activity of osteoclast cells called osteoclasts, and these osteoclasts will release the calcium ions from the bones. So this process is called as demineralization or bone resorption. So the released calcium ions will enter into the normal blood vessels so that the calcium ion level becomes normal. And the calcitonin, which is produced from the whenever the calcium ions are high, then thyroid gland produces calcitonin, and this calcitonin it stimulates the osteoblast cells. Osteoblasts are the bone forming cells. So these bone forming cells they take up the calcium ions in the formation of the bone and deposit in the bone. So thus the calcitonin, it lowers the calcium ion levels in the blood. Parathormone secretion is also regulated by blood calcium levels. So here, whenever the calcium ion levels are low in blood, the parathormone stimulates in the reabsorption of calcium ions, in order to prevent the calcium ions loss in the form through urine. It also increases the absorption of calcium ions from the diet in the small intestine. It also increases the formation of active vitamin D in the kidney. So this vitamin D is transported through the blood to the intestine in order to promote the synthesis of calcium ion transport proteins. So thus the parathormone acts as a hypercalcemic factor, whereas calcitonin hormone, it acts as a hypocalcemic factor. So it reduces the absorption of calcium ions from the urine, and thus more calcium ions are eliminated out of the body through urine. In the same way, it reduces the calcium ion uptake in the intestine. So whenever there is high concentration, then calcitonin is released and it acts as hypocalcemic factor, whereas parathormone acts as hypercalcemic factor. Overproduction of the parathormone leads to a condition called osteoporosis. In this condition, calcium ions are released from bone to the blood so that the bones will become fragile and are easily broken. So this is called as osteoporosis. They become thin and are easily broken. And lower secretion or under secretion of this parathormone leads to a condition called tetany. Tetany is the sustained muscle contraction, that is the muscle will be in contracted state for a long time, and muscle cramps also occur. Now let us see about the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are also called as suprarenal glands. A pair of adrenal glands are present on the top of the kidney. The meaning of head is upon. So these adrenal glands are present above the kidney. So these are the adrenal glands. And this adrenal gland is divided into two parts. The outer, when we see the section, we can see that the outer part is called as cortex and the inner part is called as medulla. The outer part of the adrenal gland is called as cortex and the inner part is called as medulla. So this adrenal gland, the cortex is again divided into three different zones. Zona glomerulosa, the outermost, and the middle one is called as zona fasciculata, and the third is a zona reticularis. So this zona glomerulosa, fasciculata and reticularis, these three form the cortex, and the region below reticularis is called as medulla. So the medulla consists of some chromaffin cells, medullary veins and splanchnic nerves. So the hormones secreted by the cortical regions are of different types based on the tissue. So here the glomerulosa secretes mineralocorticoids, fasciculata secretes glucocorticoids, and the zona reticularis secretes sex corticoids, or called as adrenal androgens. While the medulla secretes hormones called catecholamines. These are epinephrine and norepinephrine. Glucocorticoids are named so because they are derived from the cortex region of the adrenal gland, and they are the steroidal hormones, and these glucocorticoids they affect the carbohydrate metabolism, glucose metabolism, hence they are called as glucocorticoids. So cortisol is a hormone which is important hormone of the glucocorticoids, and this glucocorticoids, they show many responses. They show many responses, and they perform various functions and also show responses, many responses. So the two responses to glucocorticoids are mostly metabolic response and anti-inflammatory response. Cortisol affects it performs the gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is the conversion of the proteins and fats into glucose. So due to the process of gluconeogenesis, the glucose level is increased in the blood. Thus the cortisol hormone, they aid in the utilization of the carbohydrate, protein and fat in the cells. Now let us see about regulation of cortisol secretion. When the blood glucose level is low and during stress conditions, the neurosecretory cells of the hypothalamus secrete corticotropic releasing hormone. This corticotropic releasing hormone enters into anterior pituitary through hypothalamic hypophyseal portal system. This corticotropic releasing hormone, it stimulates anterior pituitary to produce and secrete the adrenocorticotropic hormone. The adrenocorticotropic hormone, in turn, it stimulates the adrenal cortex to produce and release cortisol hormone. So this cortisol hormone, it regulates blood glucose levels, and cortisol hormone it performs a gluconeogenesis, that is breakdown of fat and protein, and regulates the carbohydrate metabolism. Cortisol also shows negative feedback effect on hypothalamus. When the blood glucose level increases, cortisol inhibits the release of corticotropic releasing hormone from hypothalamus and thereby inhibits the release of ACTH from anterior pituitary gland. So this cortisol hormone, it also helps in the production of red blood cells. Cortisol, it shows the anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic responses. A commercially available product called hydrocortisone is made from cortisol. So this hydrocortisone is used to reduce the inflammatory action. Hyposecretion of this cortisol results in Cushing syndrome. Hypersecretion of the cortisol hormone results in Cushing syndrome. So this Cushing syndrome, it usually occurs more in females than in males. Cushing syndrome also occurs due to the adrenal tumor. So here we can see an image of a child with the Cushing syndrome. So the symptoms of this syndrome include fat deposition on the face, at the face region. So the face appears round and it is called as moon face. The back and the neck region will also bulge and that is called as buffalo hump. Here we can see the red cheeks. Purple striations appear on the body, the abdominal region. In this image we can see in the abdominal region striations appear. And the muscles become weak and the bones they will be fragile, easily they will be broken, and thinning of the limbs and legs occur, thin limbs. The wound healing will be poor with low lymphocytes. Then retention of the salt and fluid is high with edema. And then we can also see sexual dysfunction, mild virilism, more androgen production, and menstrual cycle in female is disturbed. The next type of steroid hormones are mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids are secreted by zona glomerulosa of adrenal cortex. As they are secreted by adrenal cortex and as they are steroid hormones, and they show effect on the minerals, hence the name is given as mineralocorticoids to these hormones. Among the mineralocorticoids, aldosterone is an important one. Aldosterone hormone increases the reabsorption of sodium ions by the kidneys. Thereby, the sodium ion concentration increases in the blood. Sodium reabsorption can result in increased water reabsorption by the kidneys. As a result, the volume of the blood increases. But for this action, the secretion of antidiuretic hormone ADH is also needed. Hypersecretion of this aldosterone results in abnormally low level of potassium and hydrogen ion concentrations in the body fluids. The reduction of the H plus ions in the body fluid leads to a condition called alkalosis. Alkalosis means abnormally the pH of the body fluids is increased. The decrease in potassium ions in the body fluids affects the transmission of nerve impulse. This further leads to muscular paralysis. The zona reticularis secretes hormones called androgens. They are also called as sex corticoids as they help in the development of male secondary sexual characteristics. These androgens are secreted in small amounts both in male and female. In adult males, more amounts of androgens are secreted by the testes. In older female, the androgens, adrenal androgens are secreted and they cause masculinizing effects such as development of mustache, beard and change in the voice. This condition is called as adrenal virilism. The adrenal medulla produces two hormones, namely adrenaline or epinephrine, noradrenaline or norepinephrine. These two hormones are catecholamines. These hormones are produced during an emergency condition, hence these hormones are called as emergency hormones or fight or flight hormones. These hormones are similar in structure except that adrenaline has one methyl group, one additional methyl group than noradrenaline in its molecule. The effects of adrenaline are more common while the effects of noradrenaline are limited. The main effects of adrenaline include reaction to danger and flight or flight response. Then it shows piloerection, that is erecting of hair during fear or anger. It increases the heart rate and also the cardiac output. Vasoconstriction and vasodilation, which cause the closing and opening of the capillary beds. Shunting of blood to skeletal muscles and away from digestion and reproduction. Sudden increase of glucose in blood, thereby rise in the blood pressure. So these are some of the effects shown by adrenaline. This is Addison's disease. Addison's disease usually occurs due to an infection, for example, like tuberculosis or autoimmune destruction of the adrenal gland, and it also occurs due to too little secretion of cortisol and aldosterone. The symptoms of this disease include hyperpigmentation in certain body regions, bronze appearance, bronze color, bronze appearance will occur, and weight loss, lack of appetite, nausea, vomiting, chronic fatigue, then abdominal pain, and the patient crave for salt and salt products as a large amount of salts are lost in urine. Now let us see about pancreas. Pancreas is a compound gland. It is also called as mixed gland. This gland has both endocrine and exocrine parts. If we observe the transverse section of the pancreas, we can see a number of acini, and the glandular epithelium of this acini secretes pancreatic juice. So the pancreatic juice consists of digestive enzymes which help in digestion. So among these acini, there are some cells called islets of Langerhans. So these islets of Langerhans cells are endocrine in nature and they produce different types of hormones. The pancreatic islet consists of 4 types of cells: alpha cells, beta cells, delta cells and F cells. Alpha cells secrete glucagon hormone. Glucagon hormone is a hyperglycemic hormone. It raises the blood glucose levels by glycogenolysis, by increasing the glycogenolysis in liver. The beta cells secrete insulin. Insulin hormone, it is hypoglycemic factor and it reduces the blood glucose levels by increasing the uptake of glucose by the cells and glycogen synthesis. And the delta cells secrete somatostatin. Somatostatin is an inhibiting hormone. It works antagonist to somatotropin, that is growth hormone, insulin and glucagon. And the F cells secrete pancreatic polypeptide. Pancreatic polypeptide, it inhibits the contraction of gallbladder. Glucagon is a peptide hormone secreted by the alpha cells. It is secreted as when the blood glucose level falls below the normal level, that is 90 mg per 100 ml of blood. So the target of this glucagon hormone is liver. Whenever the blood glucose level falls, it raises the blood glucose level. Hence, it is called as hyperglycemic factor or hyperglycemic hormone. So this hormone, it raises the blood glucose level either by breaking down the glycogen to glucose, the process called glycogenolysis. It stimulates the glycogenolysis in liver, or by conversion of the amino acids and lactic acid into glucose. The process is called gluconeogenesis. Insulin hormone is a protein hormone secreted by beta cells. It decreases the blood glucose levels. Hence, it is called as hypoglycemic factor. Insulin secretion is regulated by blood glucose levels. When the blood glucose levels are high or elevated blood glucose levels stimulate the beta cells to cells for insulin secretion, and the decreased blood glucose levels inhibit the insulin secretion. Insulin reduces blood glucose by two ways. The first way is by incorporating glucose transporters on the cell membrane. Glucose transporters are nothing but they are carrier proteins. These carrier proteins help in the uptake of glucose, in the intake of glucose into the cells. Within the cells, especially the cells like skeletal muscles and liver, within these cells the glucose is transformed into glycogen and stored. And the second way is accelerating the conversion of glucose to glycogen and fatty acids. So here we can see the diagram of regulation of pancreatic hormones by blood glucose levels. We have already discussed when the blood glucose level is low, pancreas are stimulated, that is below 90 mg per 100 ml. Then glucagon is released by alpha cells of pancreas. With that, the liver releases glucose into the blood. That means the glycogenolysis happens and glucose is released into the blood to achieve normal blood glucose levels. And in contrast to this, when there is high blood glucose level in the blood, pancreas are stimulated and insulin is released by beta cells of pancreas. So here, this insulin causes the fat cells to take in glucose from the blood. Fat cells take the excess glucose and store the glucose, and then the glucose level will become normal. In order to achieve the normal blood glucose level, adipocytes they store the glucose. Thus, the blood glucose level will control the secretion of glucagon and insulin. The deficiency of insulin causes a disease called diabetes mellitus. This is commonly called as sugar disease. The symptoms of this disease include high blood glucose level. That condition is called hyperglycemia, and excretion of glucose in urine. This is called as scientifically glucosuria, and excessive thirst, polydipsia, and fourth is polyuria, that is there will be increase in the frequency of urination. As the blood glucose level decreases, the proteins and fats are oxidized to supply energy. When the oxidation of fats takes place, ketone bodies are formed, and these ketone bodies, the formation of ketone bodies leads to a condition called ketoacidosis and low blood pH. So this leads to, sometimes this condition has proved to be fatal. That means death has occurred in such condition. And if there is a continual rise in blood glucose level and any treatment is not given, the patient he may go to coma and finally death occurs. So diabetes mellitus is of two types. Type 1 diabetes, or it is also called insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, shortly IDDM. The second is type 2 diabetes or non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, NIDDM. Type 1 diabetes occurs by the deficiency of insulin, which is caused due to total destruction of beta cells of pancreas. So the destruction of the beta cells may occur due to drugs or viruses or autoimmunity. So this type 1 diabetes occurs in children, hence this diabetes is also called as juvenile diabetes. Out of the total known diabetics, this type 1 accounts for 10%. Type 1 diabetes is treated by insulin injection. Next, type 2 diabetes, it is non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. So this type of diabetes occurs due to decrease in the cell surface receptors, that is insulin receptors, on the plasma membrane of certain cells such as hepatocytes, adipocytes and muscle cells. The cell surface receptors are the integral membrane proteins which are encoded by a gene. So when a mutation occurs in this gene, insulin cannot bind to this cell surface receptors. So then the cells cannot take in glucose. As a result, glucose remains in the blood and its level increases in the blood. And the excess glucose present in the blood is excreted in the form of urine. So this type of deficiency, this type of diabetes does not occur due to the deficiency of insulin, but due to the absence of insulin receptors, on target cells. So this type of diabetes cannot be treated by insulin injections. Type 2 diabetes is the most common diabetes, and this diabetes accounts for 80 to 90 cases of the known diabetics. So this diabetes occurs after the age of 35 years, and it is known as adult onset diabetes. In this diabetes, the insulin production increases, but there will be a decrease in the insulin receptors. This type of diabetes occurs in persons who consume more carbohydrates. Due to consumption of more carbohydrates, insulin increases. The glucose levels are increased, so in order to control the glucose levels, more insulin synthesis occurs, but there is a decrease in the number of insulin receptors. So in this condition, the treatment for this condition is only to control the diet, reduction of weight and physical exercise. In addition to type 1 and type 2 diabetes, there is another diabetes called gestational diabetes. It occurs in pregnant women due to hormonal imbalance, as the pregnant mother should feed both for the mother as well as the fetus. In gestational diabetes, the symptoms become normal after the childbirth.